You don't want to be remembered as the guy or lady that wears too much perfume. Like, you remember that dude that had on too much cologne? Like, you want to be the person that's like, I remember, they smelled well, or almost in a sense, maybe you don't smell too much at all, but you don't want to smell bad. Odor is bad.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's go. Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all, but every day you just wanting it all? Do you know what it's like? Every day facing your fear, but believing that your blessing is near. Do you know what it's like? Growing up broker than most, but still being devoted the most. Do you know what it's like? Yeah, that's what the journey's about. Yeah. Let me show you how.
What's going on, y'all? This is Justin Owens back at the Run the Play show. You see, we're dressed a little bit differently today. Why? As entrepreneurs, we're always told to dress how you want to be addressed. And I'll be transparent. When I first started as an entrepreneur, it wasn't a lot of information that really told me how to dress. And so I actually learned a lot from, growing up and being around people that, a lot of times, in Bible school and going to the Kingdom Hall, you're always wearing suits. And I learned some stuff from probably some of the best dressers that I knew that I wanted to teach you all, because it wasn't like common sense knowledge. It wasn't stuff that I was just necessarily taught. I had to learn along the way. But then I said, man, it's not really a guide for people that's like, okay, they want to be an entrepreneur, and now you're starting to wear suits, and now you're being in these environments that you don't really know. So how do you do it? And so I wanted to go make a video over some common mistakes that men make when wearing suits or when dressing in more of a business attire. And the number one thing that I see from most of them is an improper fit. And that's wearing a suit that's either too loose or too tight. Let me explain something to you. Buying a suit that's too small doesn't make it tailored, right? And really, if it's too big or too small, too tight or too big, it can really mess up the overall look. And so you want to find a suit that really fits well on the shoulders, the chest, the waist, the hips. Now here's a hack for that, because at the beginning, I was not the person that was buying custom suits. Yes, all my suits now are custom, but at the beginning, you know what I would do? I would go to Men's Warehouse. I would go to K&G, and then you get a tailor to get it fitted. You could go to the Goodwill and get you a nice suit that fits, get your size, and then have them taper it and have it fit to your body. It costs you a little bit more money, but it can make an Express suit, and a suit from Express, look like $1,000 suit. It's all about how you wear the suit. Here's something else that's really, really big. On some suits, when you first buy them, there's a tag here. We'll probably try to find one in a video that you can show. But whatever the brand name is of the suit, right? Maybe it's Tom Ford or something like that. Guys, that's got to come off. Like sometimes in fashion, people will wear the tags. And I don't knock it. But when it comes to your dress, like professional business suit and tie grooming, that comes off. That's got to be one of those things that comes off immediately, right? You take it off here, anywhere else it is. And I think just a principle, I remember this like yesterday. It was a gentleman, a family friend of my family. His name is Derek Ray, and he came to me one day, and I was at the Kingdom Hall. He was like, Justin, I just want you to know, less is more. I was like, less is more. I had on the suit, I had on the tie that was crazy. The suit had a whole bunch of designs. The shirt had a whole bunch of designs. The tie had a whole bunch of designs. And he said, listen, for you to dress nice and for you to look nice, is less is more. It's like sometimes people have on, you'll see them, they got two watches on. You know what I'm saying? They got two watches on now. Let's say they got a necklace. I'll see if I can get my necklace out. Let's see if we can get this. You know what I mean? They got the necklace, and they got their outfit like this. And then they also got the necklace out like that. And I'm like, that's, y'all know what I'm talking about. It's like, listen, less is more. Like there's sometimes I don't even wear a necklace. Sometimes I wear light jewelry, because less is more. So what does that mean? Like, when I look at my outfit, I say, okay, one of the first things I ask myself is, okay, in this outfit, what am I trying to show? Am I trying to highlight the suit? Am I trying to highlight the tie? Is it about the shirt, right? And I want you to start thinking about that when you dress. Okay, what is it about? Do I want people to notice the suit? Because if I want them to notice the suit, well, guess what? I'm gonna do more solid color, maybe solid color tie. Even something like this, I could even do maybe a little bit of a more of a power tie. It really just kind of depends on what vibe you're going for. But less is more, all right, when it comes to the professional suit and tie dress. Number 4. On some suits, and I'll stand up for this, hopefully you can see it. When you first get a suit, and we'll put a picture up of this too, these things right here, sometimes they'll have like lines of like X's. They'll be like here, and so this will be like closed shut. Sometimes jackets, sometimes wool jackets, I have it. And you'll see people that, you know, again, they may not know this, but they'll have these two little X's right here, right? X, X, right? In a string. Guys, take that out. That's supposed to come out. This is a vent, right? And sometimes on some suits, it's just a single vent. And so you'll have a single vent, it'll be here, and so the X will be right there. That's supposed to be taken out. Again, that's something I didn't know. I didn't know you were supposed to take that out at first. Somebody said, oh, no, you got to take that tag off. You got to take this off right here. What's another common mistake? Sometimes, listen, your collar on your shirt and tie, especially on your shirt, should be clean. Like, just take it to the dry cleaners. Make sure it's clean. Nobody wants to see you. Like, most of the time with most of my outfits, I'll probably wear a shirt maybe once, maybe twice. Why? Because I like it to be, 1, crispy, and 2, I just want my necks to be extremely clean. People are looking at this stuff. You know, I was always told that, you know, in business, especially as African Americans, and this is not an African American show, right? But they're looking for reasons not to do business with you. And so, like, the whole point is, like, don't give them one. And so, you know, we're talking about shirts, so I'll talk about that, right? The shirt and the tie should complement the suit. Don't clash with it. So you want to choose colors and patterns that work together. I like to look up, like, I would even suggest even following some pages that are fashionable, that are trendy, to show you what's working now, what colors are in style right now, what looks are in style right now. And then you get ideas. Y'all, listen, I promise y'all, I used to go to Marshall's, I used to go to TJ Maxx, I used to go to the Goodwill, and that is where I would start shopping. K&G was an upgrade. D&K was an upgrade. And then I finally got the Men's Warehouse, and that was an upgrade. I was like, man, this is okay. This is how you dress. Before I bought custom shirts, there was this company called Charles Tewitt. Shout out to Dr. Carlton Calhoun. He put me onto him. He's like, listen, these aren't necessarily custom shirts, but they were shirts that you get your initials. These are custom shirts that I'm wearing right now, where they measure me, right? Because I'm tall, I'm skinny, but I'm also long. And so I had to get shirts. But guess what? I could put goals here. I could put affirmations here. I could put my first and last name here. I could put run the play here on some of them. On this one, it says grateful. Some of them has my financial goals. They're there. Number 6 is wearing the wrong shoes. The shoes should match the color and formality of the suit. And, you know, some people will say don't wear athletic shoes or sandals with a suit. And I think that just depends on the environment. If you're at the beach, and it's like a wedding, sometimes people wear, like, you know, a nice sandal. And again, this is where you can look up, okay, let me see where people have done this before. Google it. I don't try to be too far. Now, if I am gonna wear athletic shoes, they're gonna be designer, ideally. You know, like, you know, I may throw on some Dior's or I may throw on some Gucci's or something like that, or some Louis to give it that kind of a pop. But a lot of times I'm gonna wear dress shoes with it. So that's important, all right? Just try to get it to match. Let's not do too much. Another mistake that I see sometimes is ignoring patterns. So solid color suits are classic. So when you're building your wardrobe, what I recommend to people is get all your colors first, all your solid colors, because, you know, when you're wearing suits, it's not like you're gonna get 50 of them right away. And so I wanted to get my basic colors first. So it was my solid. So you gotta have a navy blue suit, right? You wanna have a black suit, maybe a gray suit, a tan suit, right? Brown. And then you get into your pinstripes. Maybe you get a black pinstripe or a blue pinstripe or a gray pinstripe. And so you start working in all your solid colors. And then now you say, okay, you know what? Now I got my solid colors because I can mix up my solids. I can add the pants from this one to over here. I can mix it up. I can do a lot with that type of setup. But then I can say, okay, now let me go over here, let me get an olive. Now let me get a mauve. Now let me get a red. Now I can start expanding because I got my initial colors really taken care of. But guess what? If you go get an extravagant suit as your first suit, well, people are going to notice it every time you wear that. And it's going to be very hard to match it. It's going to be very hard to switch it up because, man, I could wear a suit. In high school, no lie, I promise y'all, I would wear a suit to school every day during my senior year. I didn't have enough suits to wear a new suit every day, but I had enough shirts and ties to mix it up, and I kept it clean. I always tell people this. You don't have to have the most expensive suit, but make sure it's clean, right? Make sure it's pressed. Make sure it's not wrinkled, okay? Another mistake that I see is people just not accessorizing. Like a suit can be elevated with the right accessories, such as a pocket square. Sometimes if it's appropriate, cufflinks, right? And a well-chosen watch, right? Well-chosen. This is kind of what I was talking about before. You're not trying to do too much. I'm not trying to show off my outfit because I want my watch to be classy. Like there's sometimes I'll just wear, watch like this. And then sometimes I'll say, let me do something light. Like I'll do something without as many, gems and stuff in it. And then sometimes I'm like, I'm gonna do something even lighter than this. I may not even wear a bracelet with a lot of stuff. I'm gonna just go less and less. Why? Because it all depends on the environment and where I'm going and what I'm doing, okay? Grooming. It's big, y'all. All right. A well-groomed appearance is big. Like if I see a person with a nice suit and then I go to shake their hands and their nails are black, and they're dusty and they dry, it's like, no, you gotta pay attention to the details. Your hair, your nails, your facial hair. I'm not saying you gotta have a certain look, but make sure it's well kempt, okay? We talked about this already, overloading on jewelry. And the reason that can be a lot, because it just takes away from the elegance of the suit. It's like the classic man look. You want to keep it simple and you want to understand the pieces that you're wearing, why you're wearing it. Here's another mistake I used to make too, was wearing the wrong socks. The socks should match the color of the pants, not the shoes. Now in this situation, actually over here, it does match the shoes and it kind of goes with the pants, right? But I'm not going to wear Gucci socks just because they're Gucci socks, all right? The other thing is you want to make sure they're long enough to cover your leg when you're sitting. So if these were the socks right here, when I was younger, I would wear like the little play socks. You know what I'm talking about? And so you don't want them to be like this, right? You want like if this is the full length of the sock, or maybe if it came up here, it wouldn't be long enough. You want to make sure your socks are long enough to cover your legs when you're sitting down. That's just a big deal. And it's a simple deal. It's not really, I say big, but it's not that big. It's really simple, right? Again, we already talked about forgetting the iron, wrinkled suits. It just makes you look like you don't care. Go to the dry cleaner. Sometimes when I travel, I'll just go to the hotel and I'll say, hey, you guys have a steamer. Like that's something I would travel with if possible. I travel with the steamer because a lot of times you're not really trying to iron your suits because that's how you mess up your suits. That's how sometimes the fabric gets looking shiny. If especially when I first started out, that was a high probability. I've actually put an iron on the suit and it crumbled, literally. Like it was on the iron because it was too hot. So you use a steamer. You just take the wrinkles out. If you go to a nice establishment, a lot of times they'll dry clean it for you or just press it for you to get it back to you. But again, that just gives you nice elegance. When you travel, get you a travel suit bag. Maybe that's something that you carry onto the plane and you hang it up, and so you don't have to worry about it getting folded up and all that kind of stuff in your luggage. Another thing that I like to try to show people is like when it comes to like your belts, my goal is if I'm gonna wear a belt, a lot of my suits, like I don't even, like this suit does it even have belt loops? No, it doesn't even have belt loops. It has like little side ties, right? So that's something that's in right now. You can just get like little side ties on your pants, and so you don't even have to worry about a belt. If you wear a belt, you want to try to have your belt match your shoes, right? So I probably, maybe I would do something like this if I had to, right? I could potentially do something like this right here, right? But I'm not gonna wear a brown belt with black shoes. Why? Because it's a little tacky. It's a little tacky. So I try to find, sometimes you can get like reversible belts. Those are good. I'm not gonna wear a Louis belt like this just because it's Louis. It's got to match. I'll wear it on the other side, right? This is a double-sided belt for that particular purpose. Same thing with this. Like this is an olive. So sometimes I have some shoes that go with this. I'll try to choose something that this will match with. But it's like the simplicity of your outfit. Remember I told you less is more. And so a lot of times when I'm wearing a suit, I'm not even going to wear the side that has this going on because it's just a lot. Unless my suit didn't have a lot going on and I'm trying to, make something else an accent. So again, those are some simple tips. And other things, just consider the occasion. Different occasions call for different levels of formality. So make sure that you wear a suit that's appropriate for the occasion. Whether it's a wedding has a different look than a night out. Has a different look from a business meeting. Has a different look from a funeral. Has a different look from a black tie event. You want to just understand. And so listen, if you learn how to avoid these mistakes, then you can ensure that you look sharp, you look well kept, you look well put together when you're wearing a suit. Listen, y'all, I promise y'all, these are some game changers. The other thing is understand sometimes, I wear a tie and sometimes I don't, right? But if you don't wear a tie, definitely make sure your collar's clean. But then you can get collar stays. There's some of my custom shirts that the collar just stays up. But before I had that, inside of the shirt, there were these little slits that you could put these little plastic pieces, right? And so you can buy them from K&G, or you can go to the mall, and you can replace those plastic ones for actually metal tips that gives your collar the ability to stand up. Why? Because you want everything to be slick, strong, nice edges, clean edges, so that you look sharp, you look professional, and you look like you're there to handle business. Here's another thing. I wouldn't necessarily call it an accessory, but it's an accessory. Colognes, perfumes, deodorant is important. Please wear deodorant. Deodorant is important. Another thing, if you know that you sweat under your arms, I know some people, they absolutely know they sweat under their arms. Guys, wear an actual t-shirt under your shirt so that your arms aren't sweaty, so that everybody can see you're sweating profusely. Cologne and perfume, you got it's a less is more type thing. You know what I mean? So get you a nice cologne. Cologne for me was like shoes. When I first started buying dress shoes, I would try to buy the inexpensive shoes because they were inexpensive, right? But then I realized that every time I bought the inexpensive shoes, I had to keep buying them because they were always, wearing out. Because the bottoms are a little bit expensive. It's the same thing with cologne. If you buy a nice kind of cologne, it's gonna last longer. You can spray less and it'll last longer. If you can smell your cologne, it's probably too much, right? And you gotta check with people. Make sure that you're not overwhelmed. Why? Because there's some people that they have allergies to cologne or perfume. And if you're wearing too much, if you're trying to meet them, imagine if and I do have allergies, right? Imagine if your cologne was so strong and started messing with my allergies, and I'm like, man, as much as I like to talk to you, bro, it's messing with me. So I would have to leave the conversation. And guess what? You don't want to be remembered as the guy or lady that wears too much perfume. You remember that dude that had on too much cologne? You want to be the person that's I remember, they smelled well, or almost in a sense, maybe you don't smell too much at all, but you don't want to smell bad. Odor is bad. I've seen some people, they get really excited, and it's bad. You got to make sure you check your smells. Another thing, this is a tip I learned. You'll see it on my shoe right here. If you look here, these are these things called taps. I don't know if you've ever seen, sometimes people are wearing shoes, and naturally your body, it leans from one side to the other, right? And so your shoe is gonna wear on a certain side. And so what they'll do is, these things are called taps. You can go to the shoe store and they literally cost $1 or $1.50. And what happens is, these taps, these will wear out instead of your shoe, right? So I get them put on the heel and also the toe. That preserves your shoe a lot longer, because if you buy the right shoe, you can actually get your heel changed. They will replace the heel and put a new heel on there. So it preserves your shoe even longer. But if you get these taps added on the bottom, they last even longer. Y'all, listen, that's something that, taps cost, $1.50, max, maybe $2 to a new heel. Let me look. Add a new heel on shoe cost. So to fix a heel, it says it could be anywhere from $60 to $120. For soles, anywhere from $15 to $50. Compared to $1.50, $2. So again, it's just something that helps you take care of your shoes. And then guess what? Get them shine, get them buff. That's going to add to the longevity of the leather and the shoes. I'm just trying to give you some things that, listen, you can start doing preventative to help make your clothes last longer, to make your shoes last longer. So guess what? You take care of it, and then it'll take care of you. The shoes will last for years and years and years and years and years, and you'll be looking great for a long time. Another thing with your shoes, when I travel, they have like shoe trees that you can put inside of your shoes, so it makes it to where it keeps a form of a foot, so you don't have a whole bunch of wrinkles. I have some shoes that are like that. It's like, okay, these are gone because I was dancing them or whatever. You know, that's why sometimes you see people propose and they kind of try not to wrinkle up the shoe or tennis shoes. But that again is something that just helps just their overall look, you know, to make you well kept. So again, a lot of plays, a lot of tips just to help you become more effective and more efficient in your dress game. Did you get yours yet? You know, the uniform for entrepreneurs all across the world, New Age CEOs. Go to newageceos.com, make sure you get your uniform, make sure you get your gear and represent all around the world.
Are you ready? We're gonna run the play. Let's go. Do you know what it's like to come from nothing at all?